Hey, and welcome to day 14. So, I'm halfway, and I wanted to give you a sort of summary update on what's actually happened to me health-wise during these 14 days, and it would be interesting to compare that to where I will be after the next 14 days. But first, the mandatory plea. So if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, can you please do so and help the channel grow so that I can reach more people? As you know as well, I'm doing all this for free, so when someone gets 1,000 subs to the channel, you can monetize it, and that will just help with some pocket money, and that would be tremendously helpful. So please subscribe to the channel. You don't need to hit the bell button if you don't want to get the updates on when I'm uploading a new video or when I'm streaming live, that's fine. But just help it grow, I would really appreciate that. So, enough of that. Let's start with the headaches, because that has been a big theme, I guess. As most of you know, I had some bad ones in the beginning around, was it day 4 or 5, something like that. And then I also had an episode of migraine, which doesn't mean that it's the diet. I don't think it was the diet at the time. I think it was a hot bath that I took, and it just triggered it. And it surprises me how much this has changed, actually, because I'm coming from a more lenient carnivorous diet into a more strict carnivorous diet. So it surprises me that I've had this. And I would like to say that headaches have gone away. That is not completely the case. The headaches are on and off still there. I can feel it right now that I have something, but it's not, it's not a huge problem. So I would say that it's a very, very mild headache. It's nothing that actually bothers me, but I would feel more energetic probably if it went away. It's more like having a cloud inside your head, and it's just there and it's uncomfortable. But it's nothing more than that. But what does bother me is the fact that I still have them. So I don't know why that is, and I'm just hoping that I'm adjusting and that it will go away very soon. And something that for some reason, I've forgotten to tell you about it completely, but it's probably because it just appears the first thing in the morning for me. So when I wake up in the morning, I have sort of arthritic stiffness in my finger joints, and I actually have it right now, because today I'm filming in the morning. That's the second time I do that. Usually I film in the evening. And I used to have this very often when I was heavily inflamed and I was overtrained. So for those of you who don't know my past, I used to be a personal trainer and a group training instructor, and that was how I was making my living. So I was working out, doing weights for myself, and then doing a lot of classes for my clients to make my money. And doing all those classes wasn't exactly good for my body. And I often felt like I was about 80 years old in the mornings when I got out of bed. It went better as the day went along, but it doesn't feel great, and I haven't had that in years, I think. I can't really remember when I had it last, but I think it's also started to appear around somewhere around day 4 to 7 maybe. And it comes every morning right now. So it could be related to the oxalate dumping, if that is what's going on, because the pimples that I got were popping up around day 4 and 5. But my brain wants to go to inflammation, increased inflammation, and the reason that it wants to do that is that it feels really similar to that. Or it could be at the time it was a combination of inflammation and oxalates in my body. I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm doing the magnesium. Obviously, I don't have any pimples anymore, so I can't tell you if it's helping with that at all. But we shall see what happens to my finger joints. I've done magnesium citrate for 2 days now. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there. And if it is inflammation, I'm wondering why. And the only thing that comes to mind is increased cortisol. So unfortunately, I am not measuring my cortisol, and it would cost me a lot of money to do so, and I don't have that money, so I can't do that experiment right now. Right, moving over to my skin. My skin has actually gone a little bit dry. I'm not usually having problems with dry skin, not particularly. And it could just be that I'm eating less fat than I'm normally eating, or that I'm actually having a lower energy intake than I'm normally having because I'm not adding all of that fat. So if you have a lower energy intake in general, it could mean that your thyroid is slowing down a bit, so that might be what is happening. And when your thyroid slows down, you can get very dry skin and brittle hair and brittle nails and that sort of thing over time. So I'm going to keep an eye on that and see what's happening with that. It's not super dry, but it's on the drier side. It's drier than I'm used to. Having said that, I don't feel cold, as in my thermoregulation seems to be functioning normally. So that would tell me that it's probably not a problem with my thyroid, but we shall see. My weight. I have lost 2 kilos, or 4.4 pounds for those of you who are doing pounds. So take that with a grain of salt though, because the scales that I have, it's really cheap pair of scales, and sometimes when I step off, it's kind of recalibrated itself to plus minus 1 kilo. So it's not very accurate, and it's a really crap scales to be fair. But I do feel like I've lost a little bit of extra on my extra supplies, shall we say. It's not a lot, but some, and that's welcome as well. I don't mind. I do have a little bit extra, so no drama. And then someone asked me about mental clarity, and what I want to say is that if I had come from a standard American diet and eaten a lot of carbohydrates and all that sort of thing, I would probably have noticed a huge difference, is my guess. However, I'm coming from a lenient carnivorous diet, so I've been eating a lot of meat, a lot of fat, and the things that I mainly cut out are things like butter, eggs. I say seafood, but I don't eat that very often anyway, so it's not like I'm actually thinking about that, but dairy in general. Salami, so salami and some cheese, and the occasional cheat day that I've had, which usually involves ice cream anyway, and I'm mostly making it myself nowadays, so that would just be made from heavy whipping cream and sugar and eggs. So those are the things that I've kind of cut out, I guess, for now. So it's not a huge difference, and when I have moved from a high carbohydrate diet to a lower carbohydrate diet, like a ketogenic diet or even a paleo diet, a low carb paleo diet that is, I have always experienced more mental clarity and more energy, and I felt much more alive. But moving between these two, I don't really notice any difference whatsoever. So I can't really tell you there, but I suspect, since I'm still fairly mentally clear, if you like, I suspect that, I would have if I had moved on from a higher carbohydrate diet. Sleep. That's an interesting one because my sleep has not been great, but that is not necessarily due to the diet. So I have a partner that hasn't been sleeping great, and I'm in general a light sleeper, so when he's moving around or coming to bed late or whatever it is, I always wake up. And in addition to that, we have a great deal of cats in this area, probably 1 billion cats around at nighttime. And they seem to be like making new cats under our house or fighting. I don't really know what they're doing. And that usually happens between 2 and 3 a.m. for whatever reason. And that sets my dogs off, so they will bounce up and they will start barking and running out. And I get a huge adrenaline rush and that just keeps me awake for maybe an hour in the middle of the night because the dogs are going crazy when the cats are under our house. So that's obviously not the ideal type of sleep, and it's totally external. It hasn't got anything to do with the diet. What I can say, the last 2 days that I have felt I'm still having trouble waking up because I've been really tired lately in general. I still have trouble waking up, but once I'm up, I'm feeling okay for the last 2 days. Before that, it has been a bit on and off, and I've been very tired throughout the day. But now it seems to be moving towards more of a I want to sleep longer. But when I do, like a few days ago, I gave myself a longer sleep until, I can't remember, 10 a.m. or something, which I never really do. And then I suffer the consequences later because that means that I can't go to bed in the evening. So I kind of need to keep going up fairly early for me to be able to fall asleep before midnight, if at all, or around midnight. So that's not ideal, but I wouldn't blame the diet. Cravings are interesting. So I've given you one update on them, and so today's day 14. 2 days ago, day 12, I had massive cravings. I do not know what was going on. I was craving all sorts of things, anything with carbohydrates in, I think. I was thinking about ice cream and cakes and cookies and bread. I was thinking a lot about bread. And I never really crave bread. Bread isn't... I like bread, sure, but it's not my nemesis. My nemesis is sugar, something that has a lot of sugar in it, whatever that might be. Things like ice cream and cakes and cookies and licorice, chocolate. I usually don't crave chocolate, but anyway. So this was really strange. I really, really wanted bread. And I was thinking I can bake some bread, and I just wanted the smell of freshly baked bread, and just put lots of butter on it, and that whole sort of thinking was going on in my brain. It was slightly better yesterday, but I did still have some cravings. So God knows, I think maybe it's just my lower brain, my unconscious brain is getting a second wind here, and it just wants to kick my bum and say, okay, I'm going to give it another go, we're going to try now, and it probably call all the reinforcements from abroad, and they just decided to attack 2 days ago or something like that. So we shall see what happens to that. I'm still feeling a little bit on edge with the cravings. I can feel now that if someone put something in front of me, I would want to eat it, and that's not very normal for me, especially not in the morning. In the mornings I usually don't have cravings. Most people don't. So something's going on there. I think it's just my brain having a tantrum, basically. And as you know, my hunger seems to be all over the place, and I've decided to just try and listen to my body and pretty much do what it wants. This kind of goes against everything that I am teaching with regards to cravings, because if I'm listening to my body and it tells me that I want ice cream, I'm obviously not in a good place. That's not what I should be doing. So I'm gonna have to try and learn to listen to my body when it's hungry and give it food when it's hungry, and then differentiate between the hunger and cravings for other things. So that's what I'm going to be doing this week, and just give it what it actually wants if it's food. I'm not going to give it anything in terms of sugary or starchy or carby things. I have another 14 days to go before I'm even going to think about that. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell, and yeah, that's it. I will talk to you again tomorrow, so just have a great day.